Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Barakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say shalom to you, Akim, out there. And then this is a sit-down lesson that I'm about to do of rumors of wars are heating up. And this is a news article from RT.com in the news of November 23rd of November 2022. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads, because there's two news articles that I'm about to bring out. This first one, and then there's a second one, then I'm going to back it up with the scriptures as well too. And the highlight of this news article for today of November 23rd, 2022, on this Wednesday morning at 10:43 a.m. And it says, Turkish air operation is just the beginning. The Turkish leader Erdogan stated, the Turkish leader says Ankara is more determined than ever to secure its southern border. And it says Turkey air operations in northern Iraq and Syria are just the beginning, and the country may soon launch a ground force. Right, because it was a news article, 1044 called Yabashmasha. And then there was a news article that caught my eye as well too, caught my attention. I believe it said the Kurdish ground forces, they was preparing for a potential ground troop invasion in that region against the Turkish soldiers. So they was gearing up, preparing for that, And I'm gonna read that again. It says, Turkey's air operation in northern Iraq and Syria are just the beginning, and the country may soon launch a ground offense into Kurdish-controlled areas of Syria. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said on Wednesday in the address to ruling party lawmakers in the parliament. Erdogan said, Turkey is determined to close down all of our southern borders with a security corridor that will prevent the possibility of attacks on our country. He said the ground incursion will begin at the most convenient time for us and will start the regions of Tel Rifat, Mabjid, and Kobana, which he calls source of trouble. Erdogan also reassured Iraqi and Syrian government that an Ankara''s operation is not a challenge to their sovereignty or territory integrity, and stressed that the aim of the operation is to protect the security of Turkey. If those countries cannot fulfill the requirements of the agreement, we have the right to take care of it ourselves, he warned. It says retaliatory raids has escalated along with the Turkish-Syrian border in recent days, with the Ankara carrying out a series of air and artillery strikes against the targets linked to the Kurdistan Workers' Party PKK and the YPG, what it considers to be a you-know-what organization, and blames for the November 13th bombing attack in Istanbul, which is the central Istanbul area, which is a large popularity tourist attraction site area, which claimed the lives of 6 people and wounding 81 more. It says Russia has called on Turkey to avoid escalation tensions, which I highly doubt they're gonna avoid that. In the region, refrain from using excessive forces on Syrian territory. Moscow has also stated that it is willing to work with all interest parties to find a peace solution with the Kurdish issue. What's that scripture says coming into mind? First Thessalonians, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction. It says Washington, meanwhile, has acknowledged Turkey's right to defend itself, but has conceded that Ankara clause war operation will provoke a reaction from the U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces military, in the bulk of which is made of Kurdish fighters, and hindering their abilities to fight against the you-know-what state. So far, Turkey claims to have eliminated as many as 254 militants and hit 471 you-know-what targets in Syria and Iraq since the air operation was launched over the weekend. And this is another rumor of war heating up right here too. In this news article, same news source from November 23rd, 2022, and the highlight of this news article, and it reads, Israel push U.S. on military action against arch rival. Because you already know that Israel and Iran cannot get along with one another. They look at each other as arch nemesis and arch rivals. And it says the country's military chief has warned Washington that Iran could soon obtain a nuclear weapon. Right, because I read an article, I said about 2 days ago, about the increase of uranium, of a potential nuclear bomb, and a upgradable of nuclear weapons being upgraded from Iran. And it's starting to increase from 60% now to like 70 to 75%. Last time I checked, according to a news source. And it says, Israel Defense Force Chief of Staff Avid Kerskavi, if I pronounce his name right, has called on the United States to develop a new operation plan to take on the Iranian military, urging top U.S. defense and intelligence officials to accelerate joint effort to counter the Islamic Republic. It says the conference held a series of meetings with the chairman of Joint Chief of Staff Mark Milley, National Security Advisor Jake Silverman, and CIA Director William Burns, the IDF said in a press release on Tuesday. Nothing that he discussed the Iranian threat, which each of the officials have spoken, was since landing in the U.S. on Sunday morning. We are at a critical point in time which requires acceleration on the operation plans and the cooperation against Iran and its proxies in the region, Koskos said after the meeting. On the one hand, Iran is under many economic, militaries, and internal pressures, and on the other hand, continues to advance nuclear projects. Right, because the reason he meant that, because you still got the, I believe the Israeli Defense Force, their military campaign keep on launching strikes in Syria, which is a Iranian-backed facility. And then you got, on the other hand, Israel's looking at Iran is, keep on continuing to develop their nuclear capabilities as well too. So that's why they calling on the United States for operation plans of a potential military action against Iran. It says Iran is under pressure in many economic, military, and internal pressures, and right, because the country's using economic sanctions on them. And the other hand, continues to advance their nuclear projects. During his sit down with General Mali, the two officials allegedly discussed strengthening cooperations between the U.S. and Israeli armies against the threat in the region. Chief among them, the Iranian nuclear threat, according to the IDF. According to the U.S. readout of Khalifi's meeting with Silverman, sides emphasize their shared determined to address security challenges, while the White House reaffirmed its commitment to assure that Iran never acquires nuclear weapons. Israel officials have claimed for decades that Iran is on the cusp of developing its own atomic bomb, along with the upgradable missiles as well too. Although the Islamic Republic has consistently denied any plans to build nuclear weapons, the supreme leader Ali issued of the fatwa, religious decrees against all weapons of mass destruction, and back in 2003. It says Iran has passed nuclear inspections by the UN security watchdog under a major deal signed with the world powers back in 2015. However, Washington unilaterally withdrew from the nuclear deal under former President Donald Trump. Tehran has steadily scaled back its accomplice, boosting its enrichment of uranium and building a new advanced Syracuse while demanding to end the U.S. sanction Iran, which the United States is not gonna stop those sanctions, because they believe, because Israel and the United States, as long as they keep on continuing to believe that Iran is a threat, as they keep on creating nuclear capability, they're not going to stop those economic sanctions until Iran stop their nuclear development of an atomic bomb, and then nuclear weapons upgradable as well too. So they're not going to stop those sanctions. It says Iran has nevertheless insisted that such steps did not indicate it is seeking a nuclear weapon, despite continual allegations from the United States and Israel. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe coming quickly. Right, because we are in those stages of third woe coming quickly. We're seeing increasing signs of that. Because these rumors of wars are building up. The wars and the tensions against the nations of different kingdoms. Now you're starting to see the president of Turkey saying, the ground, the operation that's in Iraq, eastern Iraq, and parts of Syria as well too. That operation is just the beginning, and then they're gonna have once the operation continues to get underway, they're gonna have potential ground troops in eastern Iraq and Syria as well too, against the Kurdish soldiers in that region. And then you have the United States fully support them, but they trying to calm the tensions on both sides, along with Russia saying that as well too. Could you have Russia warplanes be in that region of Syria as well too? Because there's a lot of activity going on over there in Syria, because you got the Israeli Defense Force with their cross-border airstrikes over there in Syria, and then you got Russian warplanes flying over there. And then you got the Turkish operation once again for the second or third time, I believe. You know, now they are ramping up their attacks on the Kurdistan soldiers that supports the YPG or the PKK organization group over there in Iraq and Syria, mostly Syria in that region over there. So, you know, it's a lot of activity going on in the Middle East, and it's heating up, you know. It's building up and it's heating up now, so more than ever, you know. And I'm ready again for edification's sake for this lesson. Revelations 11:14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe coming quickly. And I seen the news article, it was recent breaking news, I believe, over there in that region, the Russia-Ukraine situation. It was a new barrage of air missiles hitting over there in Ukraine. I don't know if it was from the Ukrainians did it or the Russians. So that tension over there is increasing as well too. So we're definitely, you know. Oh, come on at 11. Oh, okay. So yeah, you're seeing those tensions are definitely building up between the different nations and kingdoms as well too. You know. And this is the book of Matthew 24. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 6. And when ye should hear of wars and rumors of wars, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Hold on just a second, bear with me.
I'm Karen. I'm living with HIV, and I'm on Cabenuva.
For adults who are undetectable, Cabenuva is the only complete long-acting HIV treatment you can get every other month. It's 2 injections from a healthcare provider.
I really like the flexibility. And for me, it's one less thing to think about while traveling.
Don't receive Cabenuva if you're allergic to its ingredients or if you're taking certain medicines which may interact with Cabenuva. Serious side effects include allergic reactions, post-injection reactions, liver problems, and depression. If you have a rash and other allergic reaction symptoms, stop Cabenuva and get medical help right away. Tell your doctor if you have liver problems or mental health concerns. And if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, or considering pregnancy, some of the most common side effects include injection site reactions, fever, and tiredness. If you switch to Cabenuva,
seemed like it won't come on to 5 o'clock. Seemed like it won't come on to 5 o'clock.
Ask your doctor about every other month Cabenuva. With every other month Cabenuva.
No, 5. Yeah.
This is it. Doors open 9 a.m. at the Room Place for our...
Yep, to 5 o'clock.
You're watching The U.
Good day, everyone. I was born and raised in Detroit. Growing up there, I saw people like me.
Yeah, I don't see it till like 5 o'clock.
What I found there was a passion that I didn't know existed. This is the problem.
You said turn back to it. You said turn back to what again? You said huh? Oh.
I think you need to begin to accept.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock. Yeah.
For city leaders who made history, we are live at the ceremony recognizing Mayor Harold Washington.
Okay.
Good morning and thank you for being with us. I'm Marisa Baker.
And I'm Jim Williams, and thanks for joining us on television and our digital streaming network, CBS News Chicago. Holiday travel is back up to pre-pandemic levels.
That is the word this morning from AAA, which says millions of people from both Illinois and Indiana will travel starting today, and that's both on the road and in the air.
Let's get to CBS News' Marissa Perlman. She's live at a gas station in Des Plaines checking on busy travelers. Marissa?
Hey, Jim and Marie, happy Thanksgiving Eve. So get this, the majority of travelers, almost 90%, will be taking a car to head to their Thanksgiving destination this year. But we are at this gas station, which is not far from O'Hare. So we've been able to check in throughout the morning with both people who plan to drive and people who plan to fly. Now, the consensus this year is that almost every person we spoke with says they're willing to spend more money this year to get to their families after years of not being able to spend Thanksgiving together. Now, according to AAA, more than 4 million people
Slocky, I had to help my OG out with something. But Matthews 24:6, and when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right, because we seeing these things are increasing. That's why I said the end is not yet, because we seeing a high increase of these wars and rumors of wars, and it just continue to build up, and it's continue to heat up, in the latter days, and that's what we're seeing. With the lot of tensions increasing over there in the Middle East, and then the Israel and Palestine situation increased up a little bit more as well too. I believe it was some type of bombing over there in Jerusalem, in that region over there, and I believe they blame it on a Palestinian. And then I believe it was like 19 people were injured in that bombing over there in Jerusalem. And then you had potentially, according to reports, Hezbollah and other organization groups, they praise the Palestinians that did that attack against the Israelis, or the small hatters, I believe. So you got tension stirring up over there as well too, even though they've been going at it with each other quite some while, for a very long time. That's why you got the commotions of wars, the proxy wars, the endless on and off conflict between the two different nations and different kingdoms as well too. That's why you have it nation against nation, because you're seeing an increase of two different nations going against one another, and that's what we're seeing, especially with the tensions in Iraq, eastern Iraq, in Syria, and all throughout the Middle East. Been seeing conflict increase and increase and increase, even though we're so used to hearing conflict in the Middle East, but it's throughout the years, it's starting to heat up and build up more now, so more than ever, between the nations and different kingdoms as well too. This is Matthews 24:7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places, right? Because we seeing the increase of the earthquakes in diverse places. Because I believe it was a 7.0 earthquake over there in the Solomon Islands. And then 2 earthquakes was just recently I seen over there in Turkey. I don't know what area in Turkey over there. They got hit with like 2 earthquakes. One was a 5.9, and the I believe like the northern part of Turkey, and then a couple of hours later, then it was a 6.0 magnitude of an earthquake over there in Turkey, in the western part of Turkey. So you seeing an increase of earthquakes in diverse places. We seeing the increase of famines, the increase of pestilence, and the increase of the nations rising up against one another as well too. And Matthews 24:8, and all these are the beginning of sorrows, right? Because these are the beginning stages of sorrows for what's more about to come. With the continual build up, like I mentioned before, with the rumors of wars are heating up between the different nations, the different kingdoms as well too, with the Israel-Palestine situation, and then with the operation, what's just going to go underway, potentially President Turkey said they're going to send ground troops. That's a preparation for war right there, even though we are already in the acts of war already, but it's continuing to build up now, so more than ever. And matter of fact, since I mentioned that, I'm going to bring that Joel 3:9 out. And this is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this amongst the Gentiles, which is the other nations. Prepare war, wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw up, and let them come right? Because that's what we are seeing. These nations gearing up preparation for war. That's why throughout the whole year of 2021, all the way into 2022, so far you've been seeing a high influx of increases of these nations doing military exercise drills, simulation style attacks on their adversaries, on their enemies, along with their allies clicking up together against their enemies of a potential attack against their adversaries. That's why you've been seeing military, naval exercise drills. You've been seeing nations purchasing weapons, military gears and stuff like that. Nations building and upgrading their military arsenal, which is North Korea doing. Russia, China, and many other countries as well too. And that goes into Joel 3:10 that the weak say I am strong. And Kim Jong-un said that direct message to the United States saying they got nuclear weapons can possibly hit the territory of the United States. Because that island of Guam, which is majority Asians living in that island of Guam, they got missiles that can launch close to the U.S. territory of Guam and many other territories that's affiliated with the United States. And then they got missiles that can hit the eastern shore of Japan and South Korea as well too. So that's the weak say I'm strong. These nations are starting to show their military capability. For instance, like Iran and North Korea as well too, definitely, and China and Russia and many other countries right along with it as well too. So that's where you're starting to see a build-up of the nations, where the scriptures had said in Joel 3:10, as I just brought it out. I'm going to read it. Beat your plowshares and the swords and the plenty hooks, and let the weak say, I am strong, right? That's what you're starting to see of these nations. They got that strong military capability and a full preparation for war, and they are ready and they fully trained and being built for war. And that's what we are seeing. That's why I just brought out Joel 3:9 as well too. Wake up the mighty men, prepare war. The Lord is putting that spirit on these nations to go to war very soon. And that's what we are seeing. That's why I brought out Revelations 11:14. Second what was past, behold, the third woe coming quickly. Right, because we're seeing an increase of a third what was definitely coming quickly and is highly approaching. And that's what we are seeing, Even if Turkey, even the Turkey president said it's just a military operation, it's really a war, If you're going against another nation, that's an act of war, Even if it's a protection, even if it's for the good or bad, that's still an act of war. That's still an act of war against another nation. That's why the scripture says in the book of Matthew 24:6 through verse 7, nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And that's what we're seeing, and it's heating up, and it's going to continue to heat up, because we are in those times of war is brewing and it's heating up. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Akarkadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and a ball.